Yesterday, people saying that the mics wasn't working. So if you're in here, let me know if you can hear me. So anyway, welcome to another episode of Multi-Million Dollar Marketing Messages. I'm your host, SaDon Long. Yeah, what we're talking about is if you make your money, or if part of your money or some of your money comes from the content you create. If you're one of those people who's like, oh, I need to post more, or yeah, let me go live so I can drive traffic to my website, drive traffic to my business, um, drive traffic to wherever, or create awareness for whatever. This video is for you. And before we get started, since it is for you, I got some questions for you. The first question is, how much do you really know about how to pick the words that you use in your marketing? How much experience do you have with writing it and saying it, and practice do you have at the word part? Because it's easy to look good, but unfortunately at this point with filters and drag and drops and templates, everybody can look good. But how do you have the right words that make people want to buy your stuff over somebody like you who's most likely cheaper than you? So that's the question. Before we get into what to do, I'm asking you, how much experience do you have with it? How much have you had to do it? Have you ever had to write something out that ultimately you needed to work in order for it to turn into money for you and your business? You know, and if you did, how did it go? How many times have you done it? How much money have you made? Now I'm asking these questions because we need to gauge where you are. Because if you mess up the words, you mess up the money. And for most people, they don't know that. And that includes the people that you're hiring to quote unquote do your marketing, because in reality, you don't want to be a social media influencer. You don't want to post. You don't want to do any of this stuff. You just really would like it if people saw your stuff online, picked up a phone and called you and said, hey, I want to buy that. But that starts with the words. Bottom line, starts with the words. So again, now let's get to it. Now that I planted that little seed in your brain for you to think about going forward, let's get to it. Okay. We're going to start with the 4 P's. Okay, what are the 4 P's? Now, most of us think the 4 P's are all product, 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 product. They're not. If you need people to watch your content, here's how it works. That person who would like to give you some money, they're scanning, browsing, searching for solutions, opportunities, and advantages that are a good fit for them. Again, they're scanning, browsing, searching for opportunities, advantages, and solutions that are a good fit for them. They're not looking for products, they're looking for solutions. So now, if you need a solution, that means you have a problem. Fair to say? Can we all agree? Can you agree at home? Okay. So if we're looking for a solution, that means we got a problem. So here's what you need to be talking about in order to attract the customers that you need to your business. You need to be talking about the problem. People aren't looking for semi-glutide. They're not looking for Ozempic. They're looking to lose weight as fast as possible. So the problem they have is that they need to lose weight and they need to lose it fast, but they don't know how. So you would say, hey, if you want to lose weight, lose it fast, here's what you do. Problem. Got stuff in your house too heavy for you to lift, too busy for you to get, removed on your own, too big of a job for you by yourself, call us today. We'll move the stuff out of your house. We'll lift those heavy things for you. Every business in some way or form is about solving a problem. Either it's about solving it faster, it's about being easier, you know, but whatever it is, it's solving a problem. Again, look at fast food. McDonald's realized that, hey, the line was too long and you didn't want to wait in it because you could be late for work. So now, hey, man, just order it on your phone. We'll walk it out to you faster. People realized that, hey, man, stuff was going on in the economy and we needed a cheaper option because people just wanted a couple, 2, 3 things that they could eat real fast that didn't cost them a lot of money. So they came up with a dollar menu. Problem connected to a solution. So again, we said 4 P. So the first P is always going to be problem. Whatever their problem is, that's what you need to talk about. If you're a virtual assistant, this is a great thing for you to look into because the reality is most people don't want to do that work. They just want to do the thing that they love. So if you're a virtual assistant, you say, hey, are you spending way too much time on things other than the things that you need to focus on? Sending emails, making phone calls, scheduling, and it's taking you away from making money and it's taking away the joy and it's leaving you exhausted at the end of the day. Because the problem is you don't really want to do any of that stuff, so you keep putting it off. But if I was doing it, you wouldn't have to put it off. It would be done. And what you could then do is focus on what you do best, which is your deliverables, meeting with your clients, creating your products, coaching, teaching, speaking, whatever it is. So again, they have a problem. You have a solution. Your solution might be your service. Your solution might be your product. Your solution might be a variety of things. But without a problem, there's no reason to buy your thing. And if you are talking about your product and not the problem, how does the algorithm pick you up? There is no algorithm for your stuff. However, there is algorithms that, people are trying to lose weight, people who, are trying to get veneers, people who are trying to whatever. There's an algorithm for problems, not an algorithm for your product. This beautiful, wonderful thing that you've created is only as good as the people who buy it. So, first step, problem. Second step, connect problem to your product or solution or service. Now, here's the thing. We're going to take this to a whole nother level now. Now we got the 2 other P's, which are promise and pain. Now, most people want to start with pain. No, you don't start with pain. You start with problem. Now, pain comes after that, because you're using pain to say, hey, either A, you could take this solution and get this result, or B, you could keep doing what you're doing, but if you keep doing what you're doing, here's the pain that's going to come from it. So let's just say it's me. Do you have marketing that's not working and it's forcing you to network, cold call, prospect, over discount, beg people to support you? Go over to growingrich.com. We can fix that for you. And then the marketing will do what it's meant to do, which is help you get customers. Or you could keep doing what you're doing, which is coming home every day exhausted and embarrassed and ashamed because you've been getting hung up on all day. Or you could have a whole bunch of tough conversations with your creditors. Or you could actually start looking for a 9 to 5, because if you don't fix the words, you won't fix your money. See, again, promises that now the marketing will do what it's supposed to do. Pain is if you don't do what you need to do, then you're going to keep getting more of what you're getting, and it's only going to get worse. So you could say, hey, you could keep eating at these restaurants that have stuff that's been shipped in, made in a factory, frozen and microwaved, but you're going to keep gaining weight. You're going to keep being sick. You're going to keep, having inflammation and pain and back pain and kidney pain and gut inflammation. Or you could come here where everything's made from scratch, everything's whole foods, where we have protein bowls, where we have meals that you can actually take with you so that you don't have to eat that other stuff and that you don't get sick. Product comes after problem, prize, and pain. Prize, here's what you get if you actually take care of your problem. Pain, here's what you get if you don't. Now you're saying, well, why would people watch? Okay, well, people are going to watch because they got no choice. If I'm telling you how to lose the thing, how to get or gain the thing that you want in the shortest amount of time possible, why wouldn't you watch? Because this is what you want. We ain't talking about me. We talking about you. I ain't telling you how great I am or how great my products are. I ain't telling you none of that. I'm saying, hey, man, if you want people to watch your content, especially if you're somebody who make money when people watch, or somebody who needs to drive those people to your t-shirt brand or your beer brand or whatever brand it is, you need to talk about the problems. My man Joey in the chat, Joey, he a beer snob. So he has a lot of great information. Hey, if you're going to spend good money on beer, you want beer to taste good. Here's the beers you need to drink. Or you could keep spending money on beers that taste like crap and you don't get the enjoyment of a good beer and you don't get your money back. What is the problem? Hey, a lot of people making beer now that really just isn't that good. And those people are confusing you and distracting you from the beers that really are good, that you would really enjoy. To find out more about, which beers are the ones you should drink and which ones are the ones you should avoid, go to, top 5 beers, across the country that you can buy in any grocery store. Top 5 microbreweries in the Midwest. Top 5 microbreweries in the Chicagoland area. Top 5 brews in the Arizona area. Why? Because the people that you want are going to be attracted to that. Because it's a clue that you might be able to help them. It's a cue. It's a sign that you might be able to help them. And not only is it a cue, a clue, and a sign, it is an obvious cue. It is an attractive cue. It is a cue that ultimately is satisfying to them. Like, this is going to get me what I want. It's going to help me, so I'm going to watch it. Because people care about them. Not necessarily as much about you, unless you can help them. So again, it's got to be obvious. It's got to be attractive. It's got to be satisfying. Why? Because that's what people want. And you're in the business of helping people get what they want. What's the old saying? I mean, it might be Zig Ziglar, I think, maybe. It says, if you want to get what you want, help people get what they want. Now, we could turn it up even a little bit more. And how many of y'all want me to turn it up a little bit more? You want me to turn it up a little bit more? Hey, we're going to turn it up a little bit more. Now, if you can create something that helps people survive, or if you can connect your product to their survival, now you're really going up a whole nother notch. Because now, we're not just solving a problem, we're solving an immediate problem. We're solving a problem that they got to get solved today. And today problems require today money, requires today's attention. So if you're sitting at home and it's like, hey, here's who you need to call to keep your stuff from getting turned off today, and your stuff is about to get turned off today, you're going to watch the video. Why? Because you got a right now problem and I'm solving it. Hey, if the doctor told you, that you got diabetes and you want to reverse diabetes in the next 90 days, you need to call me today. because we can help you start reversing it today. Within 24 hours, you could be on the path to reversing it. See, now I'm on some different type of timing. See, you understand? Now we're talking about immediate problems, which means that people have to respond immediately. Now, how do you get to that? You use time. You know, do you need it today? In the next 24 hours, in the next 90 days. So, do you have a problem that needs to be solved today? Call me right now. Again, I'm talking to people who use this stuff to make money. People who maybe have never had to write it or speak it or talk it. And because you don't know how to write it, speak it, or talk it, the people that you hire, you never ask the right questions of them to see if they know how to write it, speak it, or talk it. So therefore, you end up with marketing that look really good that don't attract customers. So now you let these other people tell you this old goofy stuff about you need to be out here networking and hustling and grinding and doing all this old stuff, when in reality, all that says that you don't hire well, or that you don't know enough about what it is and you don't have enough experience at it. Because if you did, you would hire somebody who knew what they were doing, who could do videos like this, and then take this same concept and put it into your business so that you wouldn't have to. So that you would only be focused on clients, or you would only be focused on your deliverable, or you'd only be focused on the thing that you really like doing. Because that's the thing that you see yourself doing. You don't see yourself running around with a card in your hand. And, here, take my card. Here, take my card. And then you walk off, they throw it on the ground. Is that what you dream about doing? You dream about sitting around all day getting hung up on? Now, don't get me wrong. Some businesses, that's how they thrive. But any business that thrives like that, guess what? It ain't gonna last, because you're depending on people to stay motivated in the face of defeat. Unless you got really, really good people and the cut is really, really high, how many people are gonna stay there? I mean, I was on the phone every day for 10 years, set records doing it. you know. But in the process, I worked with like 150 people. And you like 150 people in 10 years. That don't seem like that many. Okay. 15 people a year start a job that don't make it every year. How many people are actually in that office to where you had to hire 15 people every year, and every year those 15 people failed? How do you run a business that way? So you got to put some of this stuff in context. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot when you say 10 years, 150 people. But when you say, man, but just imagine if it's you. You hired 15 employees this year, they all failed. Because you still got to have a business. You can't hire 15 people and they fail. So you got to keep hiring. So maybe you hired 20 people and only 5. So that's a 75% fail rate. How do you make your months? How do you make your days? How do you make your money if 75% of the people you hire fail? And if 75% of the people fail, how good do the 5 people who didn't fail have to be? And how do you get those 5 people? What do you pay those 5 people? What do those 5 people know that everybody else don't know? So obviously, you got to get your marketing to work. Because if you don't get your marketing to work, you're going to be in the category of those people who trying to hustle, grind, network, cold call, email, and do all this other stuff. But the reality is, if you know what to say, even in the networking, cold calling, and all that other stuff, you're better at it. So the people who are better at it know what to say. So even then, it goes back to the same thing. How much do you know about the words? Okay. Which is another video. But I just want you to be very clear. If you don't get this right, because as you can see, I'm talking about promise and pain. If you don't get this right, that's the boat you put yourself in. And that's really when people go out of business. They go out of business because they aren't good at cold calling. They go out of business because they can't deal with rejection. They go out of business because, hell, it takes money to go to networking events. And if you go to a network event and you got this thirst on you, I'm going to ask you a question. If you got this thirst on you, how many people are you running away? No, because you know when people got that thirst on them, you look to run away from them. You look to avoid them. You don't want their phone calls. You don't want nothing to do with them because that energy, it just is cringeworthy. And man, go and get your thirsty behind away from me. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. So with that being said, you don't want to put yourself in that position where you calling people, bugging the hell out of them, talking about buy my stuff, because they're gonna ignore you, and then you're gonna end up with a whole bunch of debt, credit cards maxed out because you've been gambling and guessing, trying to stay in the game. When in reality, you just need to fix your words. You just need to fix the words that you use to create the message that you put in your marketing. And then you take that fixed message and you put it in all of your marketing. And then you transfer that message to all your people, strategic partners, family members, and customers so that they can bring you some customers. You know why? Because if they bring you customers, then you get to do the thing that you love, which is do your deliverables, which is do your catering, which is do your coaching, which is do your babysitting, which is do your sewing, which is do your whatever you do. But what's the likelihood of you being happy and loving your life if the thing that you hate the most and do and have the least experience doing and really don't do that well is the thing that you got to spend most of your time doing? Because businesses run on customers. Okay, so now let me get off my soapbox. We're at the 21-minute mark. I got about 4 more minutes. I'm going to give you 4 more quick reversals of how to use this stuff in your everyday life. If you're struggling with this problem, then the best thing for you to do is this. That pitches you to your solution. If you're struggling with this, then the best thing for you to do is that, which is then insert solution, and then you follow that with, so you don't have to keep, that's your prize, that's your promise. Hey, that if you are struggling with what to say in your marketing, the best thing for you to do is to go to growandrich.com. That way you don't have to keep running around here cold calling and networking and hustling, and you can enjoy having a business that actually brings you customers instead of you having to chase them. So there goes promise, prize. Then hit it with it. Or you could keep doing what you're doing, which is being anxious, frustrated, upset, angry, and exhausted, chasing people around who don't want to buy your stuff. There's pain. So again, if you're struggling with this, now if you want to ratchet up or not, then you pick things that they need to immediately deal with. So I would say something along the lines of, hey, if you are behind and you've missed the last couple months and you're pretty much on your last leg, hey, the thing for you to do is give me a call today, because we can fix your marketing today. And if we fix your marketing, we can immediately start putting it in to the hands of the people who need it to bring you the customers you need, and we could pull you out of the situation that you're in. So again, immediate need, immediate response, immediate result gives you immediate money. And I know I'm writing in the air, but who cares? Talking with my hands, I get it. So again, if you're struggling with this, that's where your problem at. So if you're a restaurant, you say, hey man, if you're tired of eating food that comes out of a bag that's made in the factory, that's been microwaved, come here. Our foods are made from scratch, made to order, plus we'll give you enough to take home for lunch or dinner tomorrow at a reasonable price. Or you could keep going to these places and getting this stuff out of a bag, and you'll never lose any weight, and you're opening yourself to all types of diseases. And you don't want that. Again, problem. And again, if you don't know what your customers' problems are, if you don't know the mistakes that your customers are making, if you don't know the thing to talk about, the right thing for you to do is go to growandrich.com, and we'll sit down together and we'll figure out what your customer problems are. We'll figure out what areas you could take advantage of, what areas that you stand out in, so that you won't have to be out here paying influencers and trying to go live and trying to do all that stuff because you don't want to do that. That's not why you got into the game. You didn't get into business to then have to post all day. You didn't get into business to spend more time out of your business trying to drive people to your business. You actually, in your mind, dreamed, ooh, I'm going to be making these really wonderful meals, or I'm going to be having these really wonderful events, or I'm going to have this really beautiful daycare. But you can't get to that if you can't get any customers. So let me help you get the customers that you need. Now, if the video is enough, then just watch the video, copy what I said, and go do it. If it's not, be honest with yourself. Like, I don't really know a lot about this. I don't really have a lot of experience with this. I'm still really uncomfortable with this. And if that's you, the right thing for you to do is to go to growingrich.com. It says free messaging audit. There's a button right there. You click that button. I'm going to get with you. And then we're going to go through this together. I'm going to look at everything you do, everything you say, every piece of marketing, the email that you just sent out to figure out exactly where your opportunities are to make it so that people want to watch your stuff and want to open your stuff, and want to read stuff. And then how we can then transfer them the message that we have created so that they can then go out into the world and bring you more people so that you don't have to go out into the world and bring yourself more people. Because the reality is your customers are going to be in way more places than you ever going to be. You know, that's why evangelism works, because we can't be everywhere all the time. But if we send out missionaries, if we send out folks to evangelize and tell other folks how great we are because of what we've done for them, you know, just like in the Bible, it said, go publish. If we send people out to publish and promote for us, and we give them the word to say, then when somebody says, hey, man, I'm looking for a spot, man, to get some breakfast. You know, now I don't want none of that stuff. I'm looking for some stuff like grandma. You know, I'm looking for some stuff, man, you know, made from scratch. I'm looking for something that tastes good. Then they'll say, hey, here's a spot that you could go to. Here's what time they open. Matter of fact, here's the phone number. You can call or order in advance. And all you got to do is come, pull up there, walk it out to your car. Now, which one of those people do you think is more likely to help you? The person who knows what to say when somebody who you could possibly do business with is in their presence, or the person who doesn't? People talking about scaling, but feels like we need to get the foundation right first. Because if you get the foundation right, then the business will scale itself. Because now people will see your marketing, and then they want to do business with you over people like you who are most likely cheaper. Now you'll have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that you've done business with who all know exactly what to say, bringing you business. And then you won't have to be out here networking. People are like, man, you coming to the networking event? Nope. I got plans. Then you won't have to be out here cold calling. Why? Because your phone will be ringing. Because people will be saying to you, hey, man, I was talking to Carol, and Carol said I should call you. Well, how would it be if you woke up booked and busy and you didn't have to do anything to become booked and busy because all these other people were doing it for you? You know, because the majority of the time people want to say something, they just don't really know what to say. Or what they say doesn't help you get more business, or what they say turns them off. You know, but if you give them the words to say, it works easily. It works quickly. It works often. And don't you want easily, quickly, and often? You know, again, if you mess up the words, you mess up your money. If you fix the words, you'll fix your money immediately. But if you're struggling with what to say and figuring out what topics to talk about and how to use it in your marketing and how to use it, you know, with your people so that they can bring you more customers, the right thing for you to do is go to growingrich.com and click the free messaging audit button. And before you like, nah, my question to you is, when's the last time, again, we got questions today. When is the last time somebody who's actually good at this to the tune of multi-millions of dollars generated for clients offered his help. When's the last time a best-selling author, award-winning trainer, record-setting recruiter with decades of experience in this offered to sit down with you and go through your stuff? This documented, this proven. When's the last time somebody offered you that? And my question to you would be, how much is it really worth to you if you get it right? What's a customer worth to you? If you could get 10 customers this week, how would it help you? And if it would really help you, feels like it might be worth it, right? To just go on over there and click the button. Because again, this ain't about me, it's about you. Somebody's going to click the button, somebody's going to hire me, somebody's going to benefit from sharing my wisdom and implementing it in their business. The question is it going to be you? Only you know that. Only you know what it's like to write them checks at the end of the month and not have enough money in your account to cover them. Only you know what it's like to want to open a second location or have a second location that's not making no money. And I would say, cool, do as you do, but that's why I started this off by saying, do you really know what you're doing? Because it's easy to think you know what you're doing until somebody asks you to prove it. But as always, man, I love you. And I'm only saying this because I love you. I ain't saying this because I want to make you feel bad. And I ran it back because it was low volume yesterday and people were like, I couldn't hear it. And I know that people need this. Because I look at enough websites, I look at enough billboards, I look at enough flyers, I look at enough emails to know that 98% of the people who do what we do, and I mean us as entrepreneurs, are only good at what they're good at. And they're not good at everything. And if you're not good at everything, you don't have the time to learn. Because my question is, when would you have the time to learn? Because you're chasing customers, you fill in orders, and because you're using discounting to get it, you got to chase more orders. So when are you going to sit down and read these books and practice these emails? Oh, you're going to use ChatGPT? But guess what? Everybody using ChatGPT. So now they all sound just like you and you sound just like them. And none of y'all are saying anything that's obvious and attractive and satisfying to the customer. Because y'all all saying the same thing. Because if you knew what to say, you wouldn't need ChatGPT. So again, man, I love you. It's the 32-minute mark. We're a couple minutes over, but I felt like I needed to say what I said. Have a great day, and I'm out.